Chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly. Rotherham United's pathway back to the Championship is opening up.
Back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and 3 wins in a row. Who saw that coming? Literally nobody saw that coming. We have one of the robbiest, smashy and grabbiest wins ever to talk about at Bolton on Tuesday night. And then we will look ahead as we go forward to probably a tougher game, to be fair, away at Stockport County on Saturday afternoon. Here we go. Mick, how are we?
All good, mate. Thank you. Are you?
Yes, very, very good. Thank you. Danny's back. How are we doing, Danny?
I'm doing all right. I'm absolutely buzzing, to be fair.
Yeah, makes a change doing this show being happy, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
Steve is back. How are you doing, Steve?
Evening all. I'm good. Buzzing, that's a young man's word, but I'll use it all the time.
Yeah, it's a good place to be at the minute. Mick, we'll go through everything. We'll go through the game and everything else. But when Steve Evans left him, we know you weren't the biggest Steve Evans fan, and you were hoping for better days to come. 3 wins in a row was not anywhere near your ideas, I wouldn't have thought.
No, it wasn't. And it was just an improvement in performances. So that's all we wanted, isn't it? And boy, have we had that. It's a hell of a new manager bounce, isn't it? So yeah, I couldn't be happier. Could not be happier. I'm not going to lie with the whole situation. So yeah, what a difference a couple of weeks make.
Yeah, absolutely. YouTube is with us. Says, good evening, one and all. Just like bank robbers, smash and grab. Josh Caswell, Matt Hamshaw is one of our own. Good evening. Baz is with us as well. James Woodland says, evening, lads. Another 3 points and a nice pub crawl around Manchester on Saturday to round the week off. Paul Rose, any more matches like that, and I'll need to up my blood pressure tablets. No idea how we did it. Aaron's with us. Cheryl Stone says, evening all. Dare we dream of 4 wins in a row? Good. Neil's with us as well. Harry says, if only we made the decision quicker, we'd be in the playoffs. Well, still mathematically possible. Caliphus is with us, as is Chris Page. Terrific. Lisa is with us, as is Richard. And loads with us. Thank you, everybody who is with us so far. Let's just get straight into it, Danny. We'll talk about our goal and everything specific at the minute, but that 1-0 on Bolton, there's a handful of fixtures in the past where I'm not sure how we've come away with 3 points there. You can have Bolton away in 2025 as to one of those where you can think, I don't know how we've got away with this one. But a classic away performance, I suppose, but with a little bit of luck sprinkled in.
I'd say it's a classic Rotherham away performance, if I'm being honest. And to be fair, we've not really seen them for the vast majority of this season and the previous season and the previous season before that. And that Bolton game really did feel like backs to the wall. Everyone put their all in. Everyone turned up with a sprinkling of luck on the sides as well, just to cap it all off, which is probably a quintessential Rotherham United away win. But I was at work watching the results come in to begin with, and it was like, hey, Rotherham scored early doors here. That's quite good for us. Then I looked at the stats at half time. It's like, no, there's no way we're hanging on to this. And then Bolton absolutely annihilated the second half. And I managed to get it up on my phone because we can't get Sky Sports Plus, like the behind the red button online stuff at work for some reason. But I just kept watching it under the bar, and it was like, I don't know why we're still in front. It's still happening. And it somehow happens. And I think that sums up everyone's thoughts of it. It somehow happens. But I think it was, I don't know, it sort of showed how much the players have changed their mindset with Matt Hamshaw coming in. It's gone from we're going to go out and play a game again under a manager that they quite clearly didn't rub shoulders with completely. But Matt Hamshaw seemed to come in, got his arm around him and gone, come on lads, play for the badge and the 10. And that's how the Bolton game felt. It didn't feel like they were playing for this week's wage or because they like playing football or whatever. It felt like they were playing for Rotherham United, both the club and the town. against Bolton, and adding that bit of luck when the ball came off the post or when we got a good blocking or whatever. And here we are, 3 wins in a row. Happy days with the ever so slightest. I mean, ever so slightest is like probably 1 in 1,000 chance of us sneaking into the playoffs as well.
Yeah, I've been talking playoffs all season, and now we can barely make it. Everybody else is talking about them.
But just to set the record straight, we would have to win our remaining 5 games, and Reading would have to lose all their remaining 5 games.
And everybody else between us in the playoffs as well.
Well, yeah. yeah, because mathematically, I think the maximum we can get is 69, and Reading are on 68 as it stands.
Yeah, fair enough. There's a handful of games, Steve. We've got the Bradford 2-0 away victory, the Stoke 1-0 where Victor Bape, still the best performance I've ever seen by a Rotherham player. Does this live up to those of kind of where it was backs to the wall and like in your road you look, but there's some incredible performances to get you that victory that you maybe didn't deserve, but you've in a way still earned it?
I'll add in the 1-0 win at Northampton in 2001, was it? When Guy Branston got sent off very early on. I think Talbot scored and we hung on, but I don't remember it being quite what it was straight after half time. And that 20-minute period after half time on Tuesday was just incredible. My lad was texting me all the time. My brother was saying, how the hell, this is crazy. The word crazy we used several times. And I think it's a mixture, like Danny and Mick have said, of a weight's been lifted off their shoulders. They really have a bit of organisation now. So if you're going to get a bit of luck, your goalkeeper's going to play an incredible game. Your defenders are going to be in the right position then to do what they do. And they really seem to be very together. And it's an incredible thing to have created inside 10 days, because the last time I was on here was the Sunday after the Crawley game when what's his name had been sacked. So the turnaround is just astounding when you consider that we haven't got any options either, really, off the bench. And these are the same guys I've had to do each of the last 3 games. It's just balmy and fantastic, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely is. Yeah, and it's one of those games, Mick. If you go back to the Stoke, which is the most recent one, that was just Victor being Victor. And we'll come on to Cam Dawson. Cam Dawson was spectacular, but it wasn't just Cam Dawson. This was Hacks throwing himself around. Cam Humphries had a great game. Joe Raffett was all over the shop. And that's before we get into the kind of advanced areas. This, although they had their chances, it still felt like a really, really solid defensive performance of a team who they just didn't want to let that lead go. That lead was everything to those players for that second half, and they played like it. And again, Bolton will say that they deserve to win, and the stats will tell you that. But those players, those defenders, deserve to take something away from that game. And certainly Cam Dawson and Hacks are 2 that stand out for me. But those defenders earned that win as well.
Yeah, I mean, I had another game into that, and I can't remember. It was at Millmore. I think it was Leeds.
Leeds, yes.
When McIntosh scored, and we'd not won for 20 games or something.
And then they just absolutely battered us for 90 minutes.
3 times in 10 minutes, didn't they?
Yeah. So that's that. There are performances that you can dig out from history where we've done it, but with teams who've been performing a lot better, arguably, apart from maybe that Leeds one. I mean, just. I don't know where to go here. I don't know what to say. It meant everything. The whole of this season has meant nothing to him.
Yeah.
Quite clearly, it's meant nothing. Whereas now, it means everything in the space of 2 weeks. Let's not go over old subjects, It's perfectly obvious what the problem's been, and now we're moving forward. And we're moving forward in leaps and bounds. And you could strongly argue that Bolton deserved to win, but you could also argue they didn't, because they didn't take the chances when they had them. So that's
they played very well. I thought they were an impressive side.
Yeah.
Until they got the edge of the box.
Yeah.
And because we hung on in that last 20 minutes, 20 minutes after half time, as the half wore on, I became more and more comfortable because they were running out of ideas, and they were probably getting a bit tired as well. I mean, they started taking swipey shots from sort of 30 yards out, and you know what Amshaw said. You know, he was just basically laughing his way through the second half because he almost felt deep down we're going to win. And I felt similar towards the end. I was sweating a lot. I don't know why, but you know, I've not had that level of anxiety for months. Well, 2.5 years, frankly.
And one of the pot shots he took at end went out for a throw in nearly on the halfway line, didn't it? That was hilarious.
That's when you know you've got them, don't you? When they start shooting from there, you've got them where you want them.
Run out of ideas.
Shoot from there and it goes out so far up. Like, it went out behind where he kicked it from.
Just brilliant. But let's go back to basically the start, Danny. One of the goals of the season from Sam Nombe. Such a good hit. But Malik Wilkes also deserves a massive amount of credit because he has been selfish this season for a lot of the time. But what he's done there to get away from the defender, play a lovely ball into Nombe. Look, Nombe's got a lot of work to do. But Wilkes has done really, really well to put Nombe into that position. And, well, the finish is sublime as well.
Yeah, well, like I say, with Wilkes there, we'll start at the beginning of the mode. He could have very easily gone down twice in the build-up to that goal. And I think the more up the divisions you go, he would have gone down and got a free kick or something if it was in the Premier League with that sort of move happening. But he rode both challenges, played an absolute peach of a pass to Nombe. And he just sort of texted a couple dummy touches of the ball on the edge of the 18-yard box, and then just the one look up and he goes, right, I'm going to hit this. You know, what have I got to lose? And it's an absolute scorcher of a goal. I think the power behind it is what gets the goal for him because the keeper gets a minute touch on it, but it's just too much for him and just goes through the keeper's hands into the back of the net, and it's 1-0 to us. But like you say, the move, the strike itself, and also the feeling it gave us as well. Like, oh my God, we're actually, you know, competing against playoff hopefuls now and not just conceding 4 against relegation fodder. Sorry, crew. And yeah, it's one of goals of the season, and I think it's showing that in a very short space of time. Because I think Amshaw's been in charge for 9 days now. Is it 10 days? 9 days when we played Bolton, anyway. And he's got a completely different tune out of the players. He's made Wilkes a bit more unselfish. He's got Nombe playing to his probably best in League One in terms of forward runs and latching onto through balls from out of midfield. And he's done all that in what he's probably just shy of 2 weeks now. He's been in charge, timescale wise, and that's nothing short of amazing, I think. But I think it's because he's approached the players differently. He's got that arm round them mentality rather than shouting at them and telling them what to do mentality. And they've responded to it in leaps and bounds. And that's where you get these sort of performances from and where you get the confidence from as well. And Nombe's goal was just pure confidence, I think. The confidence of Wilk to keep going with it and the confidence of Nombe to hit it. And hey, presto, one of the goals of the season.
Yeah, Martin Miller says if Sam Nombe can score a dozen goals in what has been overall been an appalling season so far, how appetising is it to consider what he could do next season if we do fire? Yeah, I mean, goals like that, Steve, added in with the tap-ins that he's also scored. If you start and add the work rate in there, you start to understand the value a little bit. Now it's probably maybe still a little bit high, but if he can score tap-ins, he can score from 20 yards, he can do the work rate. I mean, he's almost the complete package. He's not perfect, but he's certainly on the road to being the complete package. And at League One, in a good team, he's now showing that he could get an absolute hatful.
Yeah, he's the distance on that shot is probably equal to the distance on his other 10 goals, frankly. I mean, he is known as Nombe in off your arse in the 92nd minute, isn't he? But, seriously, I thought the goal was superb. I actually missed it because I went to the gents and I just walked in the door just to see the ball in the net. So I've seen it since, and yeah, I agree with Danny. Malik Wilks does superbly well just to keep balanced and get the ball through to him, and he just shimmied a little bit, created a little, a split second for him to get that shot off, and he couldn't have hit it any better. But as far as Sam Nombe goes, I've had a few doubts about his technical ability sometimes, but since Amshaw's been in, it's almost like they are. And I've heard Amshaw say that they're talking about trying to look after the ball a bit better. What did he call it? A tidy up pass in his interview after the match. They're working on that sort of thing, and hopefully, this confidence and being encouraged rather than berated helps Sam Nombe be the player that we think we signed when we paid £1 million for him. But yeah, exciting times if we can keep on this track of bringing the best out of actually what we've got, and then in the summer adding to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The keeper got a hand to it. Are we saying, for me, it's just an unstoppable shot? Are we happy? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, absolutely. He struck it so well. It was virtually unstoppable. And also, I think Mike's in comments. I'm going to say this anyway. Credit where credit's due to the referee with that, because he could quite easily have blown up twice for the fouls on Malik Wilks, but he played the advantage. He let it run. I think in the Championship we'd probably ended up with a foul on halfway line, which wouldn't have done us any good whatsoever. But the ref played it perfectly. But yeah, a great finish. Great finish out off my seat. Again, I've not been off my seat when we scored 2 years almost. I don't feel like I have. And yeah, fantastic. Absolutely great finish.
Yeah, it's exciting to see where Nombe is going to go, to be honest with you, because he's got all the tools he needs, and he's hopefully got a manager now who can get the best out of him. Because we saw when he first came in, Danny, when he came in the Championship, he came into a poor team, and it just didn't work, and it looked like he might have something, but that team was just on the floor, and then the Matt Taylor leaves, and it didn't get much better. Strikers are classically the ones who need the arm around the shoulder the most to tell that they are amazing and they are good players. And it's no surprise, certainly no surprise to me, that as soon as a guy comes in who clearly has the ability to be a nice person, it seems to have struck gold instant. What's that? 2 goals already he's got in 3 games. It's not bad. It's a good start.
Yeah, not bad at all. I do think the Championship was a big ask of Sam Nombe when he came in initially as well. And like I say, with the team not particularly being as much of an easy ride as I think a few of us thought it was going to be. It did struggle a little bit, but he has sort of found his footing a little bit in League One, and that's in a team where we didn't really know what our approach was. And now we seem to have more of an approach and a tactic system and a formation that we stick to. He sort of knows where he needs to be more rather than being in the right place at the right time. And I think that's why his other goals have been from very close range, because it's quite hard not to miss from that range unless you're absolutely appalling like me. But now that we have a structure, he knows where the ball's going to be and what he needs to latch onto. And now that we know he's got that distance strike in his locker, like we said earlier, how many goals would he get in a season where it's full of that and not just the remaining 8 games? 2 in 3. I think he's at 12 now for the season, did you say?
12, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you could be pushing closer to 20 in a strong season for us. And I just hope we keep hold of Hampshire for him to flourish with that, or we bring someone in of Hampshire's approach so Nombe can flourish as well.
He also got the assist, by the way, for the second goal on Saturday. So he got 2 goals and an assist inside 3 games, which again is a pretty good start. Josh Caswell says, "Can we appreciate how much better Joe Powell's set pieces are in a couple of games?"
His set piece was inch perfect, by the way. And often just needed to do a Sam Nombe and get some sort of body part on it, and it were a goal. Yeah. But he missed it. It were an inch perfect set piece. I was very impressed with it.
It was, and I think he's one of those players that again kind of sums up the change in the feel of the squad, I suppose, Steve. because Joe Powell's probably been one of the better performers all season. He's been one that's generally been there or thereabouts. His set pieces haven't, but his performances have been okay. Since Hampshire's come in, his set pieces have been absolutely spot on, and his all-round play. I mean, Paul Davis he ran 13k on Tuesday night. Again, he's stepped up his levels to be fair to Evans, to the levels that Steve Evans said that he did have. And in these 3 games, Joe Powell has been again crucial to what Hampshire's trying to create.
Yeah, he's on the podcast a week last Sunday. I actually thought that the only training that he could do, I'm sure, with them really was mentally, and I think that's crucial. That's been crucial, and I think he's done it. You know, he settled them down. I don't know. I haven't got a clue what he said, but every time I've seen them play the last 3 matches, they look as though the weight's off their shoulders. And Joe Powell is a real good example of that. I mean, he was tearing through midfield on Saturday, particularly in the first half. Yeah. And like you and Danny have said, his set pieces are so much better now. I mean, you get a corner and you think, yeah, we might make something of this. Even when we were, you're lacking possession on Tuesday late on, we still got a couple of corners, and you knew that if he planted them right, and they weren't that far off, then it was going to be threatening to them. But it's nice to see the players actually looking as though they like what they're doing. Yeah. I mean, what's his name? Reece James is another one, but they. Frankly, on Tuesday, some of them looked tired in the second half, and I'm not surprised. But yeah, very positive. And what Hampshire's doing, I don't know necessarily, but I suspect it's just talking to them.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on to man of the match, Mick. Cam Dawson. Again, had a rough season. Had a really, really rough season, Cam Dawson, as keepers can do under Steve Evans. But he's come back in. His first game back was the Crawley game, and then the 3 games after that is the only goal he's conceded is a goal from a penalty. So it's not a clean sheet, obviously. From open play, 3 clean sheets in a row. From that point of view, how does that? Before we come on to Cam Dawson as a player, how highly does that performance rank in terms of goalkeeping performances we've seen over the years at Rotherham United? Because for me, it's well up there. He had a great game.
He had a great game, no doubt about it. Absolutely, no doubt about it. And he's shown what he's capable of. He's really set the bar very high there. Yeah, he's definitely up there. And I've seen a few people on social media describing it as Victor-esque. And you could argue that, because some of the saves he made were quite unorthodox. But he still got to the ball, and he was absolutely determined that nobody were going to breach that goal line, weren't he? It was a fantastic performance, and it just shows what a quality keeper he is on his day. So I don't know what else to say, really. The saves were the one in particular where he's caught. It was from edge of 6-yard box. The ball came in, and he saved it from virtually underneath himself. Was probably the save of the season for me. It was absolutely, from a goalkeeper's point of view, the ball's coming low, it's coming at you from 5 yards away, and you've got to alter your position between seeing the player make contact with the ball and actually making contact with it yourself. It's a fantastic save, and then a couple more with his feet, and he took hacks out on his way out to stop that when that was the one hit the post. Yeah, it's everything you want from a goalkeeper. It was a tremendous performance. Hats off to Cam Dawson, because that was brilliant.
Yeah. Do you remember that bit? I don't know what they were doing some subs in, and he was going to take the free kick, and he's just stood there, stood in front of the ball, and he got his arms crossed like this, and he got a big grin on his face. This is probably halfway through the second half, and at that point I'm thinking, he's having fun here.
Yeah.
And you make you think, maybe we've got this.
Yeah,
definitely. Paul Rhodes, super Cam Dawson and goal. Kev Bobbs, he commanded his box better in the previous games too. Yeah, absolutely. His Blackpool game, it was better with that, and I think Tuesday night much better again. Harry says the save where it deflected off Hacks and he almost had to go back on himself. His dive was best. Again, was an excellent as well.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first half we had to kind of after the guy flicked it on from the edge of the 6 yard, he had to kind of adjust himself to go back.
Yeah.
Was a really, really good save. And this is the thing, Danny. This squad has got something, and this is what makes 12th place even more frustrating. Cam Dawson went up with Sheffield Wednesday. At this level, he's a fantastic goalkeeper. We just haven't seen the best of him. And I wonder, somebody put in the comments, and we know how highly thought of Andy Warrington is. I wonder how much impact he's having on the goalkeepers, because, again, somebody else mentioned in the comments, his kicking's been pretty good since he's come back in, certainly the last 2 games. And everything else about him has just improved now that he's had a bit of time on the training field with a new coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think about Andy Warrington was goalkeeper coach under Warren as well, and he sort of nursed Victor into, what Victor is now. And he's had some sort of impact on Cam Dawson, that is for sure. Because before he comes in as the Crawley game, which I think most of us can agree is probably the low point of the season, both as fans and probably squad confidence as well. And again, it could be as simple as he's come in and said to Dawson, "You're better than this. You know it, and I know it." That's giving him the confidence to do better. And like you've just said there, not conceding an open play goal in the last 3 games. So again, it could be something as well. I suppose it's not simple really, but something as simple as a confidence thing. And now that we've got the confidence in him, and he's pulling off these miraculous saves, all right, that's not going to happen in every single game. In another game, Bolton could have had 3 or 4, but they didn't. Down to Cam Dawson, and it could just be he's playing with confidence. He knows his ability. He knows he's better than what he's been doing, and this is the game where he's shown it. Because I think if you narrow it down to a 1-game thing, that is probably just as good as probably Victor's best game for us in terms of keeping us in the game. I'm having a chat with a few people who said it was like Stoke away a couple of seasons ago, and it's like that was probably Victor's best game for us as well. And probably Dawson's had his as well. Another player I hope we keep hold of, because we've not seen the best of him at all this season. And I think the Bolton game probably is his bar that he needs to beat now. And I hope he stays to beat it as well.
Yeah, I agree. The Stoke one's still better, by the way. But anyway, Adam First says, give Cam Dawson the freedom of Rotherham for that performance, and Hack's not far behind him. John Fillows, I wonder how many of Dawson's saves Donald Duck would have made. Love it. Ryan Swales rightly adds in New York Stadium, Middlesbrough under Warnock with a French last-minute goal. That was absolute robbery as well. Like a handful, and very, very enjoyable. There's nothing better than those kind of wins. They're so good when the opposition have deserved it a little bit more. When in the game did you kind of think, all right, this is happening now, Steve? For me, it was when they hit the post. When they hit the post and that didn't sneak in, I thought, okay, actually, I think this might be our night tonight.
It was, funnily enough, it's what I just explained about when Dawson got his arms folded and grinning his backside off whilst they made a substitution. But deep down, I thought, possibly. But I'm never, like you guys, I'm never sure until he's blown his whistle. But the longer it went on, there were less and less of a threat. And just the way our guys were hanging on. I mean, Hugo came on and made a right nuisance of himself, diverted the ref's attention and all that kind of stuff. But probably middle of that half. And also there was a shot from their guy that Mick's mentioned. When that skewed, I thought they're running out of ideas, because they were playing the ball really well around our box, threading passes through. But then they suddenly, they didn't give up doing that, but they became a bit more panicky and desperate with what they were doing. So, yeah, it was fun. There was a couple of times we broke as well in the second half. I know they had a lot of chances, but if we were one good pass away twice from being in, basically, and potentially making it a bit more comfortable game. So, although it was a quite intense performance, there were moments where we can improve on, I suppose. Let's go back to the players, Mick, and the credit, which makes this win even better, is the players that were on the pitch to start with. They've played so many games in so little time. And then the guys you're into bringing off the bench, and Steve mentioned Hugo, we'll come on to, who I thought was really, really good. But you're bringing Hamish Douglas on as well. And the circumstances around the game make the win even more impressive.
as well, because those players were out on their feet, but then they didn't stop. They were still chucking themselves in front of tackles and everything else. Nombe were still running till the end. It's a great story. The win is a great story. As much as it's a great performance, it's a great story with everything that comes around it as well.
Yeah, it does. It is. You're right, and it's it's just everything. You've got to take it in the context of the season as well. Not just the performances over the last 3 games where they've run themselves into the ground. They've played another 30 odd games with next to no confidence. So in the context of the season, that makes it an even bigger performance. Result is the result, but the performance was just again. I think if a Bolton fan was listening to me say this, they'd just laugh at me, But then they've not seen the horrible season that we've had and the performances that we've put in. And no, it wasn't a Brazil performance. No, it wasn't a top-notch, even League One performance, arguably. But it was a game-winning performance, and it was a performance full of heart, guts, passion, pride, and work rate. All of those things we have not seen at this football club, arguably for 2 years, but certainly this season. So that's why I think we're all sort of raving and about, but not only individual performances, which were top draw in some cases. Cam Dawson, Hakeem Adofin, Sam Nombe to a degree, they were top draw. But overall, it's just those things I mentioned there. We've had none of that, and all of a sudden, it comes back in absolute bucket loads, and I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier with it. I can't believe that I just uttered that phrase. If you'd said to me 4 weeks ago, we're going to be having a podcast, and you're going to be saying you could not be happier with it, I'd have said you were a liar. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it was a bit like the Blackpool game in terms of if we wouldn't have won that game, if Bolton would have scored late on, or even if we'd lost, I'd have been absolutely gutted. But I'd been still quite proud. I've been very proud of the team in the way they performed and the effort that they put in. And again, that's all we kind of asked for. Just make us proud, even if you lose. It's fine. It's okay. We'll get over that. Just give us that performance. And 3 games in a row now, we are, like I said, we're starting to see that. We've got to say hello to John. John's with us. And we've got to say congratulations to John's Birmingham City. Who saw it coming? Eh?
John, did you get the surprise everybody promised you at the beginning of the season? just asking for a friend.
They've got their own documentary as well, haven't they? They've one-upped Wrexham by getting an Amazon documentary instead of a Disney documentary as well.
Imagine if Amazon have the documentary of Birmingham beating Wrexham at Wembley. That would be hilarious.
That would be if they played them, but they're not.
It's the Amazon Disney derby. That's what it is at Wembley.
But they're not going to play at Wembley.
They're not playing there.
Oh, it's Birmingham Wrexham in EFL Trophy final, isn't it?
Peterborough.
Oh, Danny's got his finger on pulse.
Peterborough beat Wrexham.
Okay. Peterborough had to spoil it, didn't they? Shame.
We'll edit that bit out, Danny. Don't worry about it.
It's not live. Don't worry about it.
Shame.
Bolero, Hugo at his best, wind them up, get in their heads, then stand there like butter wouldn't melt. Hilarious. He's perfect to bring off bench. He's so much fun. When he's good, Hugo's great because he's an absolute nuisance. He can't run, but he's an absolute nuisance. He holds the ball up really, really well. He wins those fouls and everything else that comes with it. If Hugo stays, which is a big if, again, he's going to be a really useful player going forward if we use him properly, which so far I think Matt Hamshaw is using him properly.
He already is a useful player. He should have been playing when what's his face dropped him after the Barnsley one. He should never have been dropped, and we've not seen him since. I mean, what's been going off there? And suddenly he comes off the bench a couple of times, and you realise again he's actually very useful to us. I mean, I'd rather not see Johnson Clark-Harris again and have Hugo on each time. So, hopefully, I mean, he's got a year left on his contract and he's the highest paid player. So if we're going to end up keeping him for next season, then use him. Work out how to use him. I'm sure Hamshaw's already thinking about this. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay him off. and send him on his way, because we can't afford to pay him the wages we're paying him now for another year.
No.
But yeah, excellent. He just as a side point, I thought the looks on some of our players' faces at various stages was superb. I've mentioned Cam Dawson, but when we scored as well, you can see all their faces. I mean, Pelly, Ruddock and Panzu, they're all starting jigging around now. And then after the game as well, and then looking at, as I can't remember whose name it was, said, "What won't melt in his mouth?" It's like, Hugo, me. And it just makes my heart cry with joy. That's a little bit over melodramatic, but you know what I mean. It's better than what we've had to endure for 2.5 years. I'll grab hold of anything.
Yeah, absolutely will. Adrian Green, effort, guts, commitment. You couldn't have asked for more. We'd have lost the game by 6 if Evans was in charge. Yeah. And at the end, Danny, you see the scenes with Hacks and Jack Holmes with the crowd as well. The connection's back at the minute. We'll talk about the future in a minute, but right now and probably for the rest of this season, the connection between the fans and the players was at its lowest that I can remember ever 2 weeks ago. And it's now back. The connection is just there. It's back. And that's credit to the players, but also we kind of credit ourselves, but credit to fans as well. Because the fans have taken absolutely no time to recognise what they've seen and go, actually, this is us. We are you, we are us, and get on board with it. And the fans that travel to all the away games and all the home games as well deserve a massive amount of credit as well, because they're fantastic as well. Yeah,
100%. I mean, we saw it for ourselves where virtually about half of the stadium turned up to watch the was it the Crew game? About half. Was it on before?
Crawley.
Yeah, sorry, Crawley.
Do you know which team which, Danny?
Mate, I'm at work for half a game. They don't pay attention. It's just like, oh, Rotherham have won. Oh, we've lost again. Oh, actually, we've won again now. But yeah, the fan disconnect was at an all-time low, and I think every Rotherham fan felt it as well, to the point where, like you've just seen, a lot of them weren't really bothered anymore. There's just a bit of no, I don't feel the connection to this team anymore. But Amshore's come in, and the connection just came back straight away. Maybe it's because it's a Rotherham lads managing the team now, or maybe it's because his approach is just the polar opposite, that it's got people effectively back supporting the team. It's not to say the support never went away, but certainly that feeling of, they represent us, that is our team, is back under Hampshire. But it did feel like it felt like we lost the United part of our name under Steve Evans this season. But Hampshire was like nailed it back to the mast and gone, no, this is Rotherham United, this is what we are. And fans have appreciated that. And like you say, Matt, credit to the ones that never stopped going and supported them through up and down every single motorway there is. But I think we're all going to come back in swathes now, because we know this is Rotherham United's, and this is how Rotherham United play, and that team is now representing our town much more than it was before.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul Rhodes, Hammy stood back and let the players take the credit. Hatch was beaming in front of us. That's what I like my manager to do at my football club. Take a step back, let the players earn the win, celebrate. Harry says, I know you don't like the fist pumps, Mick, but did you like the fist pumps from Hacks and Holmes?
I'm not a fan. I can't lie. I'm not a fan. That's just me. I'm just a miserable old git. But it's about the personalities as well. We've had people who've been showing us, or who have not been able to show any fight or passion for this football club for whatever reason. So they are now doing that. Previous Fatty fist pumps were all about Fatty. They weren't about anything else apart from him. Well, they weren't, were they? Let's be fair. It was all about adulation for him, whereas with those two, certainly that was about celebrating with the supporters, not for the adulation of the supporters. And there's a difference. I know it sounds pedantic and everything else, but it's important. So I'm not a fan, though. I think it's a bit, I don't know what the word is.
When it's kind of pre-planned with the Evans stuff, I don't like it. When it just kind of happened, because the fans, I don't mind. Like when Victor did it a few times on the odd occasion, one last year, it was kind of random and spur of the moment kind of thing. I don't mind that. It's when it's kind of move out of the way, boys. I'm going to do
Here I am.
Yeah.
Here I am waddling through. Bear with me a minute. Bear with me a minute while I pull my trousers up.
Anyway, moving on. I'm even saying his presser today that happy the fans coming back, even selling out away games. Yes, sold out. I mean, it's only 1,000, so it's not a massive away end. But 1,000 sold out for Stockport. Get your sun cream or caps or whatever you need because it's an open end away end at Stockport.
Yeah.
If you've not been before, it's a long time since we played Stockport. So yeah, you'll need sun cream and hats for there.
Cheers, Dan.
Right, let's looking forward to the future, Mick. Paul Davis reporting today that there are talks ongoing between Matt Hamshaw and the club. He said in the article there could be an announcement as early as next week.
Wow.
What are your thoughts and feelings on that?
I've not read that one. I read the one where Tony Stewart was saying he needs to prove himself over a couple of games, which kind of made me a bit angry. Given the manager he campaigned for however long, didn't have to prove anything, and then came in and proved what an absolute clown he is. So, do I trust Tony Stewart to make the right decision? Is the question. Tony Stewart will not give a monkey's whether I or any of the supporters trust him to make the decision. I'm sure he won't. Is it the right decision? Is it right decision to hand it to or to offer it to Hamshaw? I don't know. Is he ready? You look at it objectively, and he's never managed a football club before, which is a downside. It's his hometown club, which can be a double-edged sword. However, I don't think that'd be an issue in this case. I think he's too professional for that to be an issue. It's whether or not the board are willing to take a punt on him, or two, whether they've got another idea. The sort of the unspoken subject in this is whether he's keeping the seat warm for Paul Warne, isn't it? So I'm kind of split on that one as well, personally. There's I don't think Warne will come back. I don't think he'd work for Tony Stewart again. I don't think. Maybe we can't afford him, and maybe it would not be the right decision for him to come back anyway. I don't buy the argument of, well, you didn't want Evans back because you didn't want a manager returning, so you shouldn't want Warney back. That doesn't apply in this case. I don't think that's even an argument. There are no similarities. Well, there are two similarities really between that situation and whether Warney came back. One is that they both previously managed the club together, managed the club before, and the other one is probably, I don't know, they've both got heads. Other than that, the similarity ends. There's no that you can't use, like comparing apples with oranges, isn't it? But ultimately, I think I'm sure we'll get the job. I think he should get the job, but not because he's a Rotherham lad, because he is very qualified and very experienced coach, and his heart is in the club, and he's extremely professional at what he does. Whether it'll be success is another matter, but I don't want him here just because he's a Rotherham lad. That's not why I would want him. It's because of the ability and the experience that he's got coaching at this level, and we need a coach, don't we, as well as a manager. So, and he will bring the right people in with him. So it's whether or not Tony Stewart has the ability to swallow his pride a little bit, or how much the board have got influence over it. We'll see. We'll see how that pans out. But I don't particularly trust Stewart to make the right decision. I'm not going to lie.
No, of course, if he signs, it's HMS Pistol League next year. He wants to do it. He's ready and proud to do it. Aaron says if Hammy gets the job, we'll get him on the podcast. We'd love to have him on the podcast.
Oh yes,
but let's one step at a time. With these things, Steve, it's difficult because we're all Rotherham United fans and we're very, very close to it. If you be objective and try and take your Rotherham hat off and pretend you're a fan of another club, if you're looking at right, you got Matt Hampshire, never managed before. Rotherham are a demanding club. The budget's pretty good in League One. Tony Schutt's shown in the past that it can be a bit cutthroat if it don't work quickly. It's only 3 games, and it's 3 games with the half squad, which might have made it a bit easier to manage because there's got a small group to manage. Does it feel like the right option at this time, or should we take more time? Should we wait proper to the summer and see what's about? Where do you sit on it all? It's interesting.
Well, I think, is it the right time? I mean, it's been forced to be the right time by the fact we've won 3 games. They've all been different in nature, the games, but he's provided us with some kind of huge turnaround in was it 9 days, Danny, or 10 days, or nearly 2 weeks? But if you got a scrap of paper out and wrote down a few things that you wanted from a new manager, you'd want a young manager. He's 43. You want somebody who's very good with the youth. He was instrumental in our youth setup. And then you add on other bits where, he's been at the club with Warney since 2016 until he left with him. Some people can't forgive him for going, but that's another story. And also, I've said it before, I don't think Warney will come back. Now, I've been thinking about this as well, is that if Warney was going to come back, he would have been back, I reckon.
Yeah.
So my view on it, I'm pretty much with Mick. I don't know that it would work, but on the face of it, it would work. But you've got to give it a try. And I've always liked the fact, particularly during the 2016 to 2022 period, that we had Rotherham United guys, capable guys, good coaches, working at our club, and the chairman is a local man. We don't get anything like what has happened at Wednesday. You've got Chancellor, and Danny Roll's a good German coach, and probably does get it. But I would be pleased for him to get the job. I don't have any problem with it. All managerial appointments are risks. All player signings are risks. But he seems to be capable, and he's shown it in the last 10 days, of getting guys together and giving them that push, that bit of confidence, a bit of organisation that has allowed us to win 3 games, where after Crawley, I wouldn't have suggested that we would have got any more points this season with the mentality of the players at that time. So, yeah, bit muddled, but I think Hampshire, if they gave Hampshire the job next week, I wouldn't cry at all. I'd probably be very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Play devil's advocate. If we lose the next 3 games, is Matt the right man for the job? And this is the thing, Danny. What's important right now, because of where we are in the league, what's almost as important as the results is making sure everything behind the scenes is done properly. Making sure that Hampshire's got the right support he needs financially in terms of a reasonable budget, which we generally have in League One. Make sure he's got a good relationship with Rob Scott or whoever's going to be the man doing the recruitment going forward. Everything else that we can't see behind the scenes needs to be on the right. Matt Hampshire needs to be in line with that, and the club needs to be in line with Matt Hampshire. I'm not convinced the results of the next 4 or 5 games matter too much. What do you reckon?
I think. Is it maybe an absolute corker a question there? Bloody hell! I think the board will be having discussions about what has happened in the last few games. That is for sure, because the turnaround has been so much of a stark contrast to how we were before. I think it would be silly not to. Matt has got a brilliant point there where does everything align from the top down effectively. I think, excuse me, I think because Matt Hampshire has had some sort of dealing with Rob Scott before whilst he was under Paul Warne, there is still that little bit of a relationship there. Just depends on what players he wants to bring in, how much he wants to spend, how much the board are willing to let him spend. Because I actually agree with Paramount, I do think Hampshire is the cheap option. But the expensive options haven't worked previously, and if you look at Rotherham United's history, because we are coming up on the centenary now, if you look back through history, you've got Reg Freeman in Porterfield, that both first-time managers with Rotherham United, and all right, it took Reg Freeman a little bit of time, but we were one of the best Division 3 North teams at the time. You just had to win it to get promoted. In Porterfield, 1980-81 manager. Funny enough, those two left for Sheffield United, by the way, which is quite weird. We were Ronnie Moore's first league club as well. He managed Southport previously before us, but we were the first league team. Paul Warne as well took his first steps into management with us, and had instant success, but got called out tactically. I think that's the one thing that fans will try and get rid of Hampshire about if he does get appointed, will be a tactic side of it. But that's what you learn in management. You aren't born with the brilliant tactical ability of a manager. You learn that. And if Hampshire is the cheap option and he's got us playing like this straight away, I'm all for him coming in as permanent manager. Absolutely all for it, because this club has a track record of being successful with first-time managers that have like been in and around football. You know, we're not just hiring someone off the street and going, "You fancy managing Rotherham for a season, mate?" They are football people, and I think Matt Hampshire knows the club in and out, both from working here previously and from supporting it from being, probably about 6 years old or so. So everything's there for him to be successful. We just need to go, we'll take him on permanently now. And I'm with Mick. I think he'll be our manager next season, 100%.
Yeah, I could see it. I just hope everything's got to be right. I'd be gutted if he came in and it didn't work. I'd be absolutely gutted if that happened.
Just from the PR side of it as well, how big of a PR stunt would it be to have a Rotherham lad managing Rotherham United in our centenary year as well, by the way?
That is perfect. Yeah, it is absolutely perfect. It is. But yeah, I don't know.
I'll be looking for performances in the next how many games? 5 games. If the performances, like you said about the Blackpool game, if performances are good and continue to show the effort and the drive and desire, yet we might not, we might lose a couple or whatever. I don't think that should sway them, because the players, on Saturday, we'll come to that later, but they're going to be tired still. They're the same guys that have played the last 3 games. So, a Rotherham lad. I hadn't thought of that, Danny. Rotherham lad in Centenary. Yes.
I like that. I do like that. I'm sure he's given the tools to be a success. I'd like to see, and it's going to have to bring more coaches in. So you'd like, with how inexperienced it is, you'd like to think he'd bring an experienced coach to work alongside with his assistant. If assuming Andy Warrington's going to be goalkeeping coach, but time will tell. We might find out. We might even find out next week, according to Paul Davis. So we'll keep an eye on everything that's happening, and we'll kind of go from there. It's been weird having a manager change and not having the wild rumours of some random manager that we've never heard of being linked with us. It's a strange thing.
The thing is, just one, if he's appointed, all the things that we talked about when he was here last time, and the other with Warning and the like, all the things that they built in the background, the culture of the football club throughout the team and throughout the staff, and the whole package that came with it is just as important as the results on the pitch. Because if you get that right, then the results on the pitch eventually will follow, or the performances will. You can never obviously guarantee the results, but you can guarantee the performances if the culture that they're working in is right. And that's what they built last time. And this is where Stewart has got to swallow his pride, because that, with the greatest respect to him, that is not his game. Building a pleasant culture around the working environment is not Tony Stewart's game. His game is making money and making the tough, hard decisions in business to make money. He needs the people around him to create the environment where that's possible. And people like Matt Hampshire, Paul Warne, Andy Warrington, Richie Barker, all those people that were involved in the club at that time built that. They built that for Tony Stewart. And I don't think he has any idea at all what they created. But it's important that, I think the board do, arguably, and I think that's why probably Matt Hampshire will be appointed. But he has to be backed or allowed to create that same thing again. And if they do, the football club will go on to be successful. Now everybody shouting and bawling at each other.
Yeah, I agree. Let's hope let's hope it works out one way or another. Let's hope it works out.
Yeah.
Lastly, the story of the Rotherham lad, manager of the Rotherham United, is certainly one we can all get behind. Is there anything else from the Bolton game that we need to mention?
No, I don't think so.
Sound. Perfect. We go to Stockport County on Saturday afternoon. To be fair, Steve, every game is a bigger test so far. Northampton was was 1 day's train. That's a big test. Blackpool were chased in the playoffs, big test. Away at Bolton in the playoffs, a big test. And now you've got a team where I think they're guaranteed a playoff spot. If not guaranteed, they will be very soon. Where again, you've got to go there and get something, or at least put in a performance. This is, I assume you agree, this is the biggest test so far for them, sure, and the team.
Yes, I mean, you also consider that, in my view, they were the best sides that I've seen at New York this year, until we capitulated against Crawley, and I put them in a similar bracket, and possibly Birmingham, who, well, that's a long time ago, so I can't remember it very well. But yeah, I'm expecting it to be really, really difficult. I thought it was going to be very difficult at Bolton, and I suspect we're in for a similar ride on Saturday, because he says that Coyote is the only one that could be back. So we're left with the same players, and when you've got a bench that's got 2 or 3 youngsters on it, a goalkeeper, you're going to struggle with the legs. I mean, they've put everything in. Now, who am I to doubt that we're going to try and do what we want to do, and that's to win the game. So I am actually looking forward to it, because, you know, we're all enjoying watching them at the moment, but it's going to be a real difficult game, this one. But there's 1,000 Rotherham fans there, so yeah, is to 3 points, eh?
Just see the same kind of performance, same positive steps, and we'll be pretty happy. Yeah. Josh Caswell's rightly says we need to mention Hamish Douglas and Jack Holmes' debuts, Mick. Hamish Douglas was at Warrington the morning of the game, which is fun. What did you make to those 2 players on their full debuts?
Jack Holmes, I thought, had a really good game, because he's out wide and he was able to run at players. He's still very raw, and he's still got a lot to learn, you know. But nevertheless, playing him in his rightful position, he had an impact on the game, particularly in the first half. So yeah, I'm really, really impressed with him, and there's more to come from him, I'm sure. Hamish Douglas, and I don't mean this in a bad way, he didn't really have a lot to do when he came on. You know, what he did do, he did really well. But like the other sort of 9 out of the other 11 players, they didn't have much chance to impact the game. There was only Hacks and Cam Dawson that were able to do that, because we were so far under Kosh. But it's good. It's great for him. And this is what we need. We need these younger players blooding and then bringing on and developing. As a football club, we need it. And it was never going to happen. It was never going to happen under the previous regime. So I know I keep harping on about it, but it's important that we make the distinction between what we've just had and what we've got now, and a huge difference. And Hamish Douglas would have found his way at Warrington till the end of the season, and then we'd probably never have heard him again, you know. So it's really, really important, and it's great to see him getting a debut.
Yeah, I agree. Josh Caswell says that Douglas played out of position. Jack Holmes as well, both playing out of position. There were times where Jack Holmes looked a little bit lost, but that's completely understandable. Even if he was playing his normal position, at times I expect to be a little bit lost with the lack of game time that he's had. Playing completely out of position, as I thought he did as well as can be expected. And I agree with Mick said Douglas did what he was asked, which was not. He didn't have to do much, but he did what he did. He did well. Ask him when's Gore coming back. How long's a piece of string? We may never see him. We just don't know.
Man, he's only got 4 games, only to go on.
Yeah.
Was it worth the fare?
Yeah, exactly. He did say that Kelly and Clark Harris have a chance, but they've been ill. So
I think that depends on how much they want to play, really. Because I think if you really want to play, you will play through illness. But if you're not playing for the right person, you might sack it off.
I think if they've been ill, I don't think they'll start either way. If they're back from illness, it'd be a bench thing, which is fine for Kelly. If you bring Liam Kelly on for the last 20 minutes of the game when you try to hold the result, I think that's a great sub to bring on. But it depends on what they can do and where we can what it's going to be. Adrian Green saw us get promoted at Stockport back in 1989 under Billy McCune with a 3-1 victory.
Who Des Hazel?
There you go.
Well,
There you go.
Sean Goodwin, and I can't remember who scored the other one.
I'd ask Mick, but I don't think he'll remember.
I was at that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can't. I remember the 3-1 result, and I remember Des Hazel. I can't remember who scored the other one.
Yeah,
I'm sure Adrian Green was there, so I'm sure Adrian can help us. No pressure, Adrian. Do that one. You brought it up. So if anybody was there, let us know who it was. It's been a long while since we played Stockport. I'm just trying to get the heads up. So we've obviously played in the FA Cup a few years ago. With the home and obviously a bit of home this year. This will be our first trip to Edgeley Park. I think it's still Edgeley Park since it's January 2011. 14 years, not as long as I thought it was actually.
Still 14 years.
Yeah.
Still a long time.
It is a long time. Yeah. For a team like Stockport, I felt like we played quite a lot as well. We used to play quite a lot anyway. They're certainly on the way up though, Danny. They're well backed, not as well backed as some clubs in this league, but they are pretty well backed. This is going to be a proper test for us. They've got a good manager, a set of really good players. Like they're going to be in the playoffs, so they're going to be one of the 4 teams that has a chance to make it to the championship. What are you expecting from us? Really, is it same kind of performances? Do you think we can go and win there? What do you think?
I think with Stockport being in a stronger position than Bolton, I'm kind of expecting something similar to the Bolton game. But it just depends on how we can match up with that because, we've said before, Hampshire's big test would have been Bolton and we rode it really well, sprinkling a bit of luck and we managed to get the 1-0 out of it. It was a massive backs to the wall performance. And I know this podcast has been very positive and I'm not trying to cast a shadow on the positivity, but can we do a backs to the wall performance twice in the space of a week? Yeah. I think that's why this is a bigger test than Bolton, both position wise, players wise, but also players wise for us because we've still got 7 or so players out, and it will probably warrant another backs to the wall performance. So I think that might be Amshore's message to the players is, how's your bottle? Can we do it again? And part of me thinks, yeah, why not? We've shown we can do it. Why not do it again? Because I can't remember where the comment is, but they won't be feeling as tired now that they're winning. Yeah, fair point. You want to get up and represent the town and the badge. But at the same time, will it just be a little bit too much for how depleted we are? So that's the juggling act I've got going round in my head. Don't get us wrong. I want us to go to Stockport and shell shock them and win and keep on this fantastic run. But, the fitness and football side, it's like, but can we? It's just that little edge of doubt in the back of your head. But being a Rotherham United fan, Rotherham United podcast, sod it. Why not? We're going to go to Stockport and win 2-1.
Okay. Well, go on to predictions.
Did you get the head-to-head up, Matt?
Yeah, why?
Since 2007, we've only played them twice at Edgeley Park, and there's been 10 goals in those 2 games.
Excellent.
A 3-3 draw and a 2-2 draw. So there you go.
Can I change mine to a 3-2, please?
If you're interested. You haven't done your prediction yet. You've got
Yeah. What I would say is about Rotherham United at the minute, they look like a team that think they can take on the world at the minute. With those players that we've got, they just look so positive and we're going to lose eventually. Will it be Saturday? Let's wait and see. I assume nobody has any opinions on any changes we'll make because we can't make any, I assume.
No,
not really.
What it is.
Yeah. Right, let's move on to the predictions because there have been slight changes in the prediction league because Danny and Tom went for a draw, which puts them both 5 points off the top of the league. which is a big ask with just 5 games left.
See, I thought Bolton would be the trip up with the winning record.
Had I predicted, Danny, I would have gone for a Bolton win just because of the legs that we'd had from the previous game. So I get why you and Tom went for that. None of you went for 1-0, but obviously there's points in there. It's worth noting that Mick has what is essentially goal difference. Mick has more correct predictions than Joy. So even if Joy was level on points, she wouldn't overtake you, Mick. And with so few games left, Danny, you absolutely need a correct score prediction, and Tom as well needs a correct score prediction to stand a chance, really. I have some predictions so far. Tom is on holiday again somewhere. I don't think he told us where, but Tom has gone for 1-1 against his hometown club. Joy has gone for 2-1 to Rotherham United. Ben has gone 1-0 to Rotherham United. I'm putting Kev down for a 3-0, even though I will check that with him. Danny,
now that Mick said about the absolute goal fest that we seem to have at Edgeley Park every time we go, I'm going to stick with 3-2. Sod it.
To us?
Yeah.
Animal. Absolute animal. Steve, before we ask Mick to give us his, what do you reckon? What's your prediction?
Well, it's the usual one, but from a bit further out. So it's off Nombe's arse from 25 yards. 1-0.
I'll take it.
Easy.
Well, you can tell the positive vibes around this club at the minute because everybody's predicting wins. Mick, I'll be honest with you, one more correct score prediction could see the title.
It could.
A few games left.
It could.
Where are you going?
Well, they've lost 3 times at home this season. They've lost 4-1, 5-0, 2-1.
Oh.
So those are three games that they've lost this season. The rest, and then there's 4 draws in there, a couple of 0-0s and a couple of 1-1s. So 2 clean sheets away from home.
I know.
I don't know. It's a difficult one, and it's a toughie. I don't think we're going to be able to keep a clean sheet on Saturday. I think it's going to be too much. I think, but I'm not sure. I don't know why. I don't know where to go with this. I don't know where to go.
He wants that trophy.
He does.
I'm desperate for it now.
In August, he weren't bothered about this, but now he's so close.
It was easy under Steve Evans because we were like, no, we're going to draw or lose. It was just like, how many goals? But now
you smell the Jurek, can't you, mate?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay positive. I think it's going to be really close, but I think both teams will score. I think we'll win 2-1.
Okay.
Positive.
For the next game, I'm going to have to bring in a rule because you and Joy have gone same again. We can't just keep going same each game. You can keep it if you want. But I will have to change the rule.
I've done it now. I'm not changing. I've done it now. I'm not changing.
So that's the rule for next season, by the sounds of it.
Well, the rule for the next game because if they both pick same ones for the rest of the season, we already know who's won.
Oh yeah.
And Mick always picks second. I'm from Joy when she's not here. So there's a rule change coming in from the Mansfield game.
You can't change rules halfway through the season. What do you think? Yeah, PGMOL.
Right. Nathan Crabtree says 0-2. Josh Cashel says 1-1 with a Hugo Screamer. Paul Rhodes with a 1-0 to the Millers. Steve Grundy 1-1. YouTube user says 1-2 to the Millers. Harry says 2-0 Stockport. I think it will be too much. Callum says 2-2. Reckon a late penalty to us. Terry Fenby says 1-0. Mike the Miller says, I think we'll come down to earth with a defeat 2-1. Josh Castle says, I think a change 1-1. Dawson will score from a goal kick. Caleb Wilson says 1-2 Wilkes and Nombe. Kenneth Bobbs says, don't tell him what Joyce picked, Matt. Yeah, we could do that. I could do it that way, but then, yeah, we'll work a system out. Anyway, we'll work a system out. Zach Smith showing 2-1 to the Millers as well. There we go. Is there anything else we need to mention?
I think so.
No, let's fingers crossed for Saturday, eh?
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to watching them.
I know. It's weird. It's like 3 games in a row I've looked forward to watching. Unbelievable,
isn't it?
Yeah. Referee. Thank you very much, Mike. I did make you not a referee, but I forgot to write it down. So you are going to have to talk between yourselves while I get it back up.
It wouldn't have made any difference if you'd written it down, would it? Because you wouldn't be able to read it. Let's be
harsh.
Have you seen
He is
Matt
harsh. He does this. I feel a prediction league points deduction coming on.
Is he going to get like FIA and fine people for saying things you don't like?
Ineligible comment, minus 2 points.
Yeah.
The referee is Lee Swaby. That may not be how you pronounce it, to be honest with you. He did referee us twice before. He refereed the loss to Lincoln under Paul Warner, I think 2018, the first home game of the 18-19 season, I think it was. And he also refereed a victory. If you wait, I will get it up on here as well. A home victory away victory at Gillingham, the 3-0 when Michael Smith got a penalty, I think, or missed a penalty in that one. There you go. So he hasn't refereed us this season, but he's done a lot of games in the league this year. Harry's right. Bring the sun cream. If you are going to Stockport, sun cream up because it's going to be a beautiful day. So hopefully you can get some beautiful 3 points on a beautiful sunny Saturday afternoon. Just 5 more games left of the season. We are nearly there for that, so we'll keep going. Anything else, boys? I've already asked that, but ask again.
I can't believe I'm disappointed that there's only 5 games left.
I know.
The season's just started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Well.
Never mind.
Yeah. Make sure you've subscribed if you haven't done so already, because the numbers are shooting up through there. We will be back on Sunday evening with a review of the Stockport game as the season gets ever closer to finishing. If you're listening on iTunes and Spotify, make sure you give us a 5-star rating or a thumbs up or follow and subscribe, whatever it allows you to do on your particular subscriber. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Steve. It's been a pleasure as always. We will see everyone next time. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant. Mule with it. Wood's got around the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. The magic man has come up with another trick. Well, here's a chance to seal it.